Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to No Filter Gen Z. It's me, Camden, Fadana, and Lydia. Welcome, guys, back to the show. It is December, finally. I'm so excited. It's the fourth quarter of the year and my favorite season, I think. I just love Christmas. I've had this Christmas tree up since November 1st, so you know me. But how are you guys doing?
I'm good. I'm also very excited that it's December. It kind of came upon us, I feel like, so
I
quickly.
know.
But my birthday is in December, so I'm very excited.
Yay.
Um, but
Yay.
yeah.
Awesome.
I'm doing fairly good. The weather is warm, so I get to wear all my sweaters. I have my cup of coffee. Yay.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty cold last week. It was 37 a few mornings ago. So I'm
Yeah.
not complaining. I love it. But anyways, that's where we're at. But welcome back to the show, everybody that's watching. We're gonna just get straight to some breaking stories that have been going on lately. I feel like we haven't done this in a while. It's crazy. But let's just go right into the first big story that happened like last week, which was Biden pardoning his son, Hunter. Overall thoughts, initial thoughts. Lydia, how do you feel about that?
I mean, at the same time, I feel like because it's towards the end of his presidency, it's not really surprising that it happened because he's kind of getting his last final say in per se. I just find it funny of how much people were denying like his own press secretary was like anytime anyone would ask, she would shame them. She's like, I've already answered this question. I
I
can't believe you
know.
would ask this. I saw there was like a whole compilation someone put together of like all the times she's been asked, and now it's like, okay, well, you act like it was so far fetched. In reality, it really wasn't. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, and then
it is his son. Yeah.
I agree. I think why wouldn't you do that? If you're about to be
Right.
done with the presidency, why wouldn't you pardon your son? But why would you lie about it? Because this
And
is
pardon or
she.
commute
We
his
already
son
have her saying that.
if he's convicted.
So I've answered this question
Right.
before. It was asked
I
of me not too
definitely
long
agree
ago. A
with you
couple of
guys. It just shows you like with the Democrat, they really have no morals. They really don't, and that's what they kind of prove to us time and time again. All they really do is just stand on
Ask you,
lies. I haven't seen them stand on the truth
their
not
verdict no matter
once,
what it
and
is.
they're just
Yes.
hypocrites.
And
They
have you ruled
accuse
out a pardon for
Republicans
your
of being
son?
hypocrites, but yet they go
Yes.
ahead and do the same thing. And even with Biden doing that for his son, I could understand. I feel like any parent would want to do that for their child. When people were asking him, he should have just not stated anything, to be honest with you. But for them to have like
Question regarding the family.
numerous evidence of him stating he wouldn't
I'm
do
extremely
that
I
proud of
mean,
my
yeah,
is
son
he
Hunter.
said it
is
multiple
He
times
has
that he wasn't going
overcome
to
an
pardon him. I
addiction.
don't know why you would
right,
say
He's one
that
of
if
the
you're going to do it anyway.
brightest, most
right.
decent men I know,
Just
and
shows that
I
they've
am
never been man or
satisfied.
woman of their words.
Yeah, it kind of
This,
it makes sense honestly with the whole
yeah,
party. I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised at all because this is what they do all the time. They say one
yeah,
thing and then they do the opposite. That's what Kamala did her whole campaign. So I don't think it's a surprise really, but I mean, I think honestly, I think Trump should have done it if Biden didn't, just to like create some kind of unity with the whole country. Just be like, we're gonna
right,
pay off Kamala's debt from her campaign, and we're gonna pardon Hunter. That would have been awesome. But I mean,
right.
Yeah.
if I was Joe Biden, I would have also pardoned my son Hunter. Because
Right.
why would you
He's
not?
probably scared,
Yeah, I mean,
especially with Trump getting into power. He probably doesn't know whether or not Trump would have his son locked up, you
yeah,
know? So he tried to be two steps ahead of Trump, quote unquote. I don't really know how that would even be two steps when we all seen it coming, you
yeah,
know? So
yeah.
it is what it is.
hmm All right. So the other big story that just happened too, which I don't know how accurate this is or how real, but I have heard a few people talking about DeSantis maybe being nominated for Secretary of Defense because of the backlash with Pete Hegseth. Some people don't like him at
Yes.
all.
Yes.
So let's just look at this real quick. This is what it's I guess allegedly President Trump was discussing replacing him with DeSantis, but I don't know for sure. But what do you guys think if this were to happen? Um, what do you think?
I mean, it makes me sad
Yeah.
because I mean, obviously Ron DeSantis is very talented and he's very capable, and Trump Trump really does know what he's doing, even though like we've kind of seen some backing out of some of the cabinet picks, but still Trump does know what he's doing that way. But it does make me sad because Ron DeSantis is such a great governor here in Florida, and he's going to be severely missed.
Yeah.
I feel like it's hard to replace someone that like proactive and that serious about getting the job done, per se. And so it'll make me sad, but it'll also make me proud that like we're getting someone like we had Marco Rubio, like there was, and so just to hear that like we're having another Florida person, it's kind of cool. But,
Yeah.
Well, I don't know who would replace Governor DeSantis. I don't know if anyone is just as exceptional as he is.
He's been the
really
best.
don't know. He has been the president for Florida. Okay, Florida's president, and I don't know. I'm teary eyed about this. I think Trump should nominate someone else because we could really use DeSantis right now, especially if there's things that Trump is going to want to reinforce with this new administration and the previous administration. We know they did a bad job, but I feel like Trump needs to choose somebody else and not nominate DeSantis because DeSantis is the president of Florida ultimately. And things won't be the same.
He's been an example of what a governor should be like. Just in every way. He's been so like just perfect. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be sad when he's gone. And this is not confirmed, but
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't get confirmed.
I know. And I also think about like how big of an advocate he was during COVID for us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was, not that we would necessarily get like I don't really see us getting a Democratic governor like anytime in the future. But I mean, I just think about what it would have looked like if we didn't have him. Just someone as strong-willed as he was, that he's like, no, we're not shutting down as long as some of these, like, like Minnesota, I mean, let's let it burn.
I mean, that's why Florida kept doing so good with business, even through the pandemic, because DeSantis kept things open.
Exactly.
You can't survive without that. So
yeah,
if it were to happen, I think the lieutenant governor takes over, which I think it's a woman. I forgot her name, but I'm pretty sure DeSantis picked her to be the lieutenant governor when he became the governor. And I think she would kind of like be the executive of Florida until the next election or something. So
I haven't really heard much about her or what she has accomplished. I heard she's from Miami, and I heard she speaks very eloquently. That's all I've heard so far. But I don't really know a whole lot about her to say that she would make an exceptional leader as him. But if she was, side by side next to him, I'm sure she's seen how phenomenal of a leader he was. And so that's a pretty high bar to meet. If someone's going to be the next governor of Florida, and DeSantis pretty much set the standard. So you gotta really be very qualified for that position for Florida for sure.
Yeah. So what's the deal with Hegseth? Do you guys why is there so much backlash on him? Do you guys have an opinion on him?
Well, I've heard people talk about, I mean, this is really just what politics is. The minute you get into the limelight, people are going to find any type of dirt.
Yep.
Yeah. And the thing is, people will also make up things just as a political stunt. They'll twist things that actually happened, and they'll make you out to be the bad guy times 10. And so I really think that's really what a lot of it is for people. Not saying that some of that is not true, because I know, everyone is past, everyone has made mistakes. And when you get into that political sphere, everything that you've done is out in the open for everyone to see. And so, but I can see now, he truly seems to, I mean, I've always seen him as he seems like a really, really genuine, nice guy with a really, decorated past as far as military and things like that. So as far as his capabilities, I don't doubt those. And as far as his character, I guarantee it's improved.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the image thing. It's the same thing with Trump. Why people didn't like Trump because of his character and background and past and stuff. But if you look at Hegseth from the position, Secretary of Defense point of view, he was a veteran and he has 2 Bronze Stars from being in the military. Yeah. So, if we're actually looking at what makes you qualified for a job, he is. But people just like to look past it and look at those little behind-the-scenes stuff that we won't ever even, we won't be with him anyway. But it's the same thing with Trump.
Right. And I don't think anyone will ever have a clear slate regarding their past. I think Just like the Bible says, all have fallen short
Yeah.
of the glory of God. Like we all have fallen short somewhere along the way. And the only exception is Jesus. He
Yeah.
really is. I feel like as long as we live, we're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to do things that we're going to regret. And it's all part of like getting the wisdom and the lesson. And I feel like many times it's hard for people to even put their name out there because someone will find my alarm's going off. You're going to have to cut that part off,
That's okay.
Camden. But someone will always try to find something to disqualify you. But I feel like if a position is meant for you, regardless of the attacks, then God's will prevail.
That's good because
Wow.
this is what God does. He doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies
Right.
the called.
Come
So
on.
if you're called for something, you're gonna be called for it. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, and also this is just what politics is, like Lydia was saying. But he has the Fox show stuff, Fox News, and I think that's a part of everything that people are like so upset. They're like, a Fox News host shouldn't be a Secretary of Defense. But I mean, it's just, if you look at his track record, it makes sense. So.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but there's also so many people like Dana Perino. Like she also worked, in the White House.
Press secretary, right?
Yeah, she was press secretary, I think under Bush. But like, and you see, I mean, I know obviously the Fox News was after the fact, but it's still, that doesn't diminish any qualifications at all. I think it only enhances it because, Fox News is, I would say it's pretty reputable when you compare all of the news
Right.
stations for sure.
Yeah.
But
So if he is, I mean, I think it's a strength thing from Trump if he stays with his picks. Like, come on,
Right.
we know Trump for doing that. But say that they don't like him and they're going to nominate someone else, and it's not DeSantis. Who else would you guys like to see to be that position? Secretary of Defense is like, you need someone that definitely has some kind of military background or something with defense, and those are the two names that I think of.
Yeah. Well, I definitely would hope to see General Flynn get one of the positions that Trump has because he does have a lot of military
That's true.
background. Maybe something in the high intelligence or something like that. That would be pretty cool to see. I mean, I feel like Trump is just nominating people. It's like a slot machine. You just don't know who's going to come out.
Some of the picks were surprising for sure.
Right. So I guess they always have some kind of like a backup plan for whatever it is. It seems like with this administration. So I'm pretty sure they already have their back players, in case someone decided they're not going to receive the nomination. I mean, we've seen Matt Gaetz did that and stuff. And that's pretty much the only person that didn't receive the nomination so far, right?
I think that's the only one that backtracked on besides Hegseth, but
right.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see.
I think it's the Republican Party is still not super unified in the Senate. Like there's some people that are rhinos, Republican in name only, that won't vote for the Trump nominees because they don't like Trump. Like there's still Republicans who don't like him. So it's still, we need to be as unified as the Democrats are. If you look at the past like records of voting in the Senate, the Democrats always vote all together. Like they're so unified in their party. We aren't.
Right.
We're not like, we're not all in agreement.
And even then, like, even if you don't like someone, at least see what they are trying to implement.
Yeah.
And what Trump is trying to implement is a lot of common sense things that a lot of Republicans should be in agreement with. I can understand with his personality and maybe he can be a little stern and blunt, but like I think people need to have clarity on what someone is thinking. You get what I mean? Like they want him to fabricate his message with ties and a beautiful big bow, and that's not how Trump is. He just tell it like it is. He's from New York, and that's how people from New York are. They cut to the chase and tell it to you like it is. And so I don't think he's gonna dumb down his message even more for
That's
people,
true.
And so regardless whether you like him or not, like look at his policies. I may not like a certain professor, but what they're teaching me could actually help me,
Wow, that's so good. Well, I think about when you talk about Canada, the unification just in general, that we Black, my mind always goes back to when that coup had happened with Kevin McCarthy,
Yeah.
and I just remember, and
Yep.
Matt Gaetz was, one of the
Right.
contenders, and I understand like where their apprehensions were with all that, and kind of why they wanted to do that, because Kevin McCarthy wasn't really a strong Republican conservative, and
Right.
so I can understand why they wanted more of a conservative individual in the Speaker of the House position. But I think about that. I don't know.
It does bring it up because like there's such a past of Republicans being like against
Right.
each other, and that doesn't
Yeah.
help when you're
Right.
trying to pass legislation and try to get things done for the country.
It doesn't. And now more than ever, like we had a victory, and I don't understand why people still have things to be upset about.
I know, like,
come on now.
but can you guys imagine if Kamala were picking all these positions right now? Oh
Oh,
gosh,
goodness. I can't even imagine.
We would see the whole drag queen show.
yeah,
That is so real.
the
Yeah.
entire thing would be all that. What is it called when?
I mean, that has been most of her supporters. They have been drag queens. So
You know?
drag queen number 1, drag queen number 2.
Yeah. I can picture him like bringing up like Ocasio-Cortez and like
Oh, DEI is what I was gonna say.
Oh yeah.
It would be all women and all like either trans, like
no white women
Yeah,
It
something
would
to make
be
them
fake women,
something
the
make
ones
them-
that are confused women.
or that. Yeah. That's
that brings something up that's been a hot topic in the Senate. I think there's a transgender
Yes.
senator, right?
Yes, there is. I think he goes by Sarah. I forget his last name.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, but there was a whole thing with the
It's
bathrooms.
the bathrooms, yeah. So
Yeah.
there's Nancy Mace is her name, I think, was a Republican, a conservative that was really like saying, no, I'm not going to have my daughters in the same bathroom as a man. And that's pro women. And they say that if you voted against
Right.
Kamala, you weren't pro women, but there's nothing more pro women than keeping men out of your
Right.
daughter's bathroom. So what do you
Right.
guys feel about the Senate having the bathroom hot topic right now?
Well, they should, simple solution, create a question mark one. Okay. If you're questioning whether you should go into a woman or a man bathroom, you're mixed because you're having some kind of confusion internally. We should create a mysterious question mark restroom. That way, if you feel confused, you go in that one. The ones with the common sense that know they are biologically a man, they go to the men restrooms. The one that are biologically woman, you go to the woman restroom. Simple solution. If you feel confused, they should create a question mark one. That way,
I mean, how
this
about
this topic can be done and over with. I'm over it.
how about
Yeah,
this?
no.
How about what you're biologically born with? You go into the bathroom.
Yeah,
that is.
you know-
It's not an identity conversation.
Right.
It's literally like biological, anatomical. Like
Yeah.
they're so all about the science until this. Like what?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like all like evolution and all of this secular. Yeah, no, that it just shows just where our world has gone to, and I mean, it
I know.
doesn't surprise me. Like at this point, like this is finally an issue, especially up in one of the highest ranks, of government, like the Senate. Like this is going to be what our conversation is, and I'm like, first of all, honestly, let's not even create an additional bathroom. Let's just say, yeah, this is where you're going because this is how you were born. There's no changing or reversing that. Like this is how God designed you, and this is how God wants you to be.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't even think we should cater to even having an additional bathroom.
I mean, there's still only two genders. I don't know what the big deal is.
Right.
There's two genders. There's
Right.
one bathroom for one and one bathroom for the other. You can't
Right.
change your gender and go into the other one. That's common sense. Like Fidana, you were talking about Trump is all about common sense, and that's what he was trying to do with these picks and running for president again. That's all it is. It's common sense at this point. The left is so far left that the right is pretty moderate. Like that's common sense for anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. For sure.
So
I don't know. They call it we're progressing. I feel like we're going 2 steps back when it comes to issues like that because
Yeah.
it's like how did we even come to this point? And I think people are just bored. Like when you're at home to yourself, maybe that's when these crazy start coming to these people's minds.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I
go
think
out, make more friends.
I think the
have more friends to entertain you.
I think the COVID lockdowns were a huge detriment for mental health. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people were
Sure.
stuck, isolated, and then, I mean, it could have led to this confusion stuff. We saw a
Right.
huge rise in all this in the media once, COVID was a thing. So
yeah.
I think, and it taught people to be isolated even after. Like now, there's so many teens that are just, don't want any friends or
Right.
anything because they're on
Yeah.
their phones and they're all messed up in their head, and then of
Right.
course they're gonna be confused. Like I can't even blame them. It's
Yeah.
we have a lot of
Yeah.
problems.
Well, I think that even back to like what, pre-COVID, I literally can't even think, because I was like trying to remember, like every now and then I think I'm like, when, I mean, obviously I know when this stuff has originated, obviously it was during COVID, but I'm like, what was even the topic of conversation before COVID? Like everything just went downhill that way
I know.
after COVID. It's just
It
crazy.
really did.
Yeah. So another huge story, guys, before we end, one more thing. I don't know if you guys heard about this or not. I'll show you real quick. Is the CEO of United Healthcare was assassinated in New York City a few days ago. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
insane.
I've
And
seen it.
people's
And
reaction to this has been even crazier. Is
yeah,
they're all like this, for example, this other picture to the right with a target and everything. The media has been insane with how ruthless we are because of social media. What do you guys think about this whole thing?
well, I seen an article. Apparently, whoever did it, they had personalized the bullets,
Yes,
and
yes.
I'm like, oh my god, like how crazy do you have to be to personalize the bullets that you want to put in somebody's chest?
So
That
yeah, it
is
said
wicked stuff.
they found the casing that said deny, defend, depose in the
Yes,
bullet
three
casing.
Ds.
It's kind of crazy.
Oh my God. Like you have to be super wicked to do that kind of stuff. I could understand maybe Brian did something that were probably sketchy or whatever, but you should never do that to an individual. Like taking a life is a serious threat.
Yeah.
Like it's a serious matter.
Wow. No, this kind of, I mean, this is like, feels like a movie. This feels like a Jason Bourne movie. Like, I remember like seeing the footage of like, it was like obviously right before he had, shot him, but it was like he was standing right behind him, like
Yeah,
squarely, like direct. It was just so eerie. Like, it just felt so like not
planned.
real. Yeah, no, very,
It
very
was
planned.
definitely
Very,
orchestrated because this guy knew exactly where he would be. He knew the camera was behind
yeah.
him so that his identity wouldn't be, in the limelight. And then the silencer, like everything about it was kind of
Yeah.
scary. And let me tell you guys this: he was scheduled to testify in Congress.
Wow.
So someone didn't like what he was gonna say. Maybe he was gonna come out as a whistleblower on something. I don't know. Someone didn't like it, and maybe I'm just saying that it could have been a possibility that they hired a hitman to go and kill him before this
That's
Congress hearing.
crazy.
Yeah, never say never in today's day and
No,
age.
and I mean I'm not even surprised with everyone's reaction because we saw during the Trump assassination attempts, everyone was like so, like I couldn't even believe the Twitter posts that I was seeing about people like saying, "Oh, dang it, I wish he wouldn't have missed" or whatever. Same thing with this. Like, yes, this guy, we don't know. There's a lot of like stuff about insurance where people are really upset with their personal lives, but this guy had a family too. We have to remember that.
Right.
This guy had a family too, and I mean, why are we okay with these assassinations nowadays? Like everything,
Because
it's
people's
just
hearts are becoming cold. That's what it is. Don't you think so?
yeah,
Yeah, it's
It's
Hardened.
crazy to me.
it's horrible.
It's just too casual though. It's this used to be like this crazy thing when assassination would happen. Now it's every day we hear a story of someone getting either an attempted or literally killed. And then we're just fine with
Right.
it. We go on our days, and social media has created this weird wall where we can just say jokes about these things and
Right.
not have any like backlash because we're behind a screen. It's
Yeah,
kind of
no
Right.
scary.
consequences. No
Yeah.
consequences. And when it's for the government's agenda per se, and yeah, who knows what the hitman thing? We don't know. I mean, and then, people like that wouldn't really necessarily be silenced as quickly as people who are speaking out against like, hey, this is not okay. We should be making jokes about this.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's so backwards and it's so twisted and it doesn't make sense, but that just really just shows the world. I mean, we live in a fallen world. So
Yeah.
this
We
stuff is
do,
becoming
for sure.
more and more prevalent, and we're reaching, this is the end times, this is what we're in, and
Right.
this kind of stuff shouldn't surprise us in the same on the same token.
Yeah.
Right. I second that, Lydia. And even the Bible says in the last days, man hearts are going to become colder
Yeah.
and harder, and they're going to be lovers of themselves. And if anything, I feel like that is what we're seeing. People are lovers of themselves. Like the things that used to like touch our hearts no longer touches our hearts. I mean, even with people saying abortion is healthcare, that should tell you where people's hearts are. Like literally, I second what you just said, Lydia. We really are in the last days. For someone life to be taken and for you to not be moved by that, like I feel so blessed when I go out and I come back home safe and sound. I know God's angels are protecting me.
Mm.
And I can just imagine those people who don't have the Lord in their lives. That's like definitely very, very like a
Scary place.
risky place to be. Like if God's angels wasn't with Trump, Trump could have been dead multiple times, but
Yeah.
we definitely know God's angels is with us ultimately.
The world is a scary place without God.
Right.
If you don't have God in your life, then like I don't know. It's so uncertain. Everything's so
Right.
uncertain. You don't know what could happen. And yeah, you brought up a good point that let's look at all the assassinations on the babies that are being killed in the womb every day.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gotten so tolerant. We've gotten so okay with things like that to happen. And we're
And we
just
won't call it murder. We
No,
won't call it murder.
we're
We call it
normalizing
healthcare.
we're normalizing all these
Crazy.
things like that, and it's God would not do that.
Yeah. Wow. And ultimately, again, I mean, the God of this world is not the Lord. It's Satan.
Yeah,
So,
ruler of the
he,
earth.
he twists and perverts everything in his path. So it does check out that way.
For
Yeah.
sure.
But it all does go back to people not having faith right now. Like when you
Yeah.
take faith in God out of the equation, you can't get the answer. You can't
Right.
get peace. You just can't. It's not possible.
Pure chaos.
That's why Jesus came back though. He came, and of course until the end, I guess, until he comes back and we go to heaven, there is going to be chaos no matter what. Even if we try
Right.
our best, and we still should be doing things to be the peacemakers, I guess, because we're Christians, and we got to be the example of what God of Jesus is gonna be and what he was when he
Right.
was here. But until then, for the people that don't have a faith, I don't know what you think right now.
Wow.
There's really nothing to stand on. Like there really is absolutely nothing to stand on if you don't have faith, honestly. Like I don't really know what you are believing in. Like
Because who's preserving the truth right now? It's Christians. Like even
Right.
the fact that there are two genders and the fact that we are, born a certain way. Christians are defending this stuff that used to be common sense, and it's like it's really a wake up call for anybody that is a Christ follower to be an example in your community. Because if you're not, Sodom and Gomorrah could be closer than we think.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true. I mean, the rise of everything, and we have to be the light ultimately. We have to be the truth bearers. We have to be able to stand on this because once again, I mean, yeah, you're right. Who else is going to? I mean,
Exactly.
the Christians are the only people. And it's not even in just the US. I mean, Christians
Yeah,
worldwide
everywhere.
in their own individual countries, they're facing persecution and things like that, and they have to take a stand for what's right and what's truthful. And they could be other countries, they could be killed.
Yeah, and then
So,
Jesus
yeah.
says, and I've been reading Luke all December. I mean, I did chapter 6 today, and Jesus literally says, be of great joy when you are mocked and persecuted for your faith, because that is showing your true character and who you are as a child of God, as a son of man. So even today, like, we are the ones, the Christians are the ones that are going to be still standing on the truth, even if they're, being persecuted, because we know the end, we know the outcome. And so it doesn't matter what you think of the, I guess, the politically correct world. We still have to be, standing on the truth. That's what I always go back to, is like the Bible, and we have to stand on it even when the world is flipping it.
Yeah. Wow.
for sure.
So good.
Well, guys, I guess that's it. I love how we brought it back to that though by the end, because that is what it really comes down to. So
That's what matters.
look past all the issues and look to the one that is above it all. That's where we got to go with it. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the show, click that subscribe button. Help us grow. And remember, the new year's coming, and we're gonna be on top of it. We're gonna have great shows coming. So thank you guys for coming out, Fidana, Lydia, and I'll see you guys next time. We'll see all of you in the next episode.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye.